In the shadowy, storm-racked world of Hittite mythology, where gods clashed and the fate of the cosmos hung by a thread, the birth of Tasmisus was a harbinger of chaos and power. His tale is one of rebellion, raw elemental fury, and the relentless pursuit of vengeance. The earth trembled as Kumarbi, the usurper of the heavens, writhed in agony. Having swallowed the essence of the sky god anew, Kumarbi was cursed with the burden of bearing his own downfall. As the pain within him grew unbearable, he retched violently, and from his mouth spewed 3 divine beings, each more powerful than the last. The earth quaked as Tasmisus, along with his brothers Aranzahus and Teshub, was borne upon the barren, jagged peaks of Mount Kanzurus. This was no ordinary birth, this was the violent expulsion of a storm. Tasmisus, eyes blazing with the fury of the skies, emerged from the darkness, his presence an omen of the tempest to come. The mountain groaned under the weight of these newborn gods, and the winds howled as if to welcome them into a world already steeped in conflict. Tasmisus, though young, knew his purpose. The skies whispered to him, the winds spoke of betrayal, and the thunder murmured of the impending storm. He was not merely a child of chaos, he was its messenger, its harbinger, sworn to the cause of Teshub. The storm god destined to overthrow their tyrannical father, Tasmisus became the eyes and ears of the impending revolt. With every breath, he summoned the winds. With every glance, lightning crackled in the darkened skies. His allegiance to Teshub was unbreakable, forged in the crucible of their shared birth and the blood they would soon spill. But the shadows of fate loomed large. Kumarbi, enraged by the defiance of his offspring, conceived a monstrous being, a colossus of stone named Ullikummi, born to crush Teshub and reclaim the heavens. This creature, immense and unstoppable, grew rapidly, its strength unmatched by any god. The ground trembled under its footsteps, and the skies darkened with the menace of its approach. Tasmisus knew the time had come. As Ullikummi loomed on the horizon, blotting out the sun, he took his place beside Teshub. The air was thick with tension, the calm before the storm. Then, with a gesture, Tasmisus unleashed the fury of the elements. Winds howled like wolves unleashed, tearing at Ullikummi's granite flesh. Lightning forked across the sky, striking with the wrath of 1,000 storms. Rain fell in torrents, hammering the earth, turning it to a quagmire beneath the giant's feet. Yet Ullikummi pressed on, undeterred, his stony visage unyielding to the divine onslaught. In the eye of the storm, Teshub faced Ullikummi, but it was Tasmisus who first struck. With a cry that echoed through the heavens, he summoned a storm so fierce it seemed the very sky would split. The winds screamed, the rain became a deluge, and lightning danced across the giant's form, each strike chipping away at the seemingly invincible stone. But Ullikummi was no ordinary foe, and as Teshub engaged the beast in a titanic struggle, Tasmisus continued his assault, relentless, unwavering. The storm he conjured was a force of nature, a living thing, born of his fury and desperation. The battle raged on, each moment stretched to an eternity, each strike a question of survival. And then, with a final, deafening roar, Teshub delivered the fatal blow. Ullikummi, weakened and battered by the relentless storm, shattered into fragments, his monstrous form crumbling to dust. The skies cleared, the winds subsided, and a tense silence fell over the battlefield. Tasmisus stood amidst the wreckage, his chest heaving with the exertion of the battle. The storm he had summoned dissipated, but its memory lingered in the hushed whispers of the wind. He had done his part, he had been the storm's fury, the lightning's wrath, the wind's scream. In that moment, Tasmisus knew that his destiny was not just as a servant to the storm god, but as a force of nature in his own right, a deity born of chaos, destined to wield it, and forever remembered as the harbinger of the storm that saved the heavens from ruin.